Hello, my YouTube family. I hope you are all doing well, truly well, in your hearts and in your lives. Not just smiling on the outside, but feeling grounded and at peace within. Recently, I was asked a very powerful and deeply meaningful question, one that stayed with me long after the conversation ended. I felt that instead of answering it in a few words, I must answer it through a video, because this question touched the core of my journey. The question was, looking back at your journey, what has been the most transformative and surprising lesson you've learned about yourself along the way? Over the years, I have shared many life lessons with you, lessons carved out of struggle, healing, reflection, breaking, rebuilding, and rediscovering oneself. But today, I want to share a lesson that was not just learned, it was lived. A lesson that life taught me in the most uncomfortable, painful, yet unforgettable way. When I look back at my journey, one of the most profound realizations I had was this. In order to find the strongest version of myself, I had to meet the weakest version of myself first. For as long as I can remember, I was terrified of pain. As a child, I was scared of anything that could hurt, whether it was falling down, getting injured, or experiencing emotional pain. And I think many of us can relate to that. We grow up trying to avoid hurt. We believe that if we can just protect ourselves enough, we'll be fine. We think safety equals happiness, but life has plans of its own. Then one day, everything changed. I found myself in a horrific car crash that turned my world upside down in a single moment. One night, I was a normal person planning my future, and the next morning I woke up in ICU, half paralyzed, half fractured, and completely broken in every sense of the word. There was no part of me that wasn't hurting. My body was in pain, my heart was in pain, and my soul was in pain. I still remember the doctors rushing around me, trying to control the damage. I still hear the words, "Kill the pain before the pain kills her." And lying there, I thought, this is life? This is what pain feels like when it arrives without warning, without permission. I was the same person who had spent her life terrified of pain, and now pain had become my constant companion every second, every hour, every day. There was no moment when I wasn't hurting. It felt endless, unbearable, suffocating. One night, in the middle of that agony, my mother stood beside my bed. I was crying uncontrollably, overwhelmed by the intensity of everything happening to me. I looked at her with tears in my eyes and asked, "Why me? What did I do to deserve so much pain? Why isn't it leaving me? I am tired. I am exhausted. I wish I had died." Sometimes pain pulls the deepest, rawest truths out of our souls. And in that moment, I wasn't searching for answers. I was searching for relief. When I finally stopped crying, my mother gently held my hand and said, "I know you are hurting. I know this pain feels endless, but this too shall pass, because nothing lasts forever. And one day, God will show you why you were chosen for this test called pain." Her words were beautiful, full of wisdom and reassurance. But in that moment, they didn't make sense. Because when pain consumes you, it numbs everything else. Logic, hope, faith, they all become distant. The world becomes smaller, darker, and quieter. But time passed. Healing slow, unpredictable, and imperfect began to happen. And eventually, I stood on a stage at TEDx Islamabad to share my story for the first time. I didn't know how people would react. I didn't know if my pain had any meaning beyond myself. Right after my talk, a girl approached me with tears in her eyes. She hugged me and said, "Thank you. In 10 minutes, your story solved 10 problems of my life. Because of how you survived your hurt and refused to give up, I promise I won't give up either." And in that moment, something shifted inside me. I realized pain is not always a curse. Sometimes pain becomes the bridge that connects one human heart to another. Sometimes pain deepens us in ways comfort never could. Sometimes pain makes us empathetic, compassionate, and human in the most real sense. I am not sitting here glorifying pain. Pain hurts, pain scares, pain breaks you open in ways you never imagined. Every human being on this planet, no matter how rich, successful, happy, or strong, has tasted some form of pain. No one is spared. But I also realize another truth. Blessed are those who do not let pain go to waste. Because when you find purpose inside your pain becomes power, it becomes meaning, it becomes direction, and then your pain does not go in vain. Over the years, I learned something about myself that changed my life completely. When I stopped looking at pain as punishment and started seeing it as a gift in disguise, everything changed. I wasn't destroyed by pain, I was shaped by it. I wasn't punished by life, I was prepared. Pain did not come to imprison me, it came to introduce me to the strongest version of myself. Sometimes, the most powerful transformation happens when life puts us face to face with the version of ourselves we never wanted to meet. The weak one, the scared one, the hopeless one. Because only after meeting that version do we realize how strong we can truly become. So today, if you are hurting, if life is heavy, if you feel trapped inside your challenges, remember this. Pain may be present, but so is purpose. This moment is not the end of your story. One day, this chapter will become someone else's lifeline. And that is how pain becomes meaningful. Not when it is suffered alone, but when it is transformed and shared. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being strong, even on days when you don't feel like it. And remember, your pain is not your enemy. Sometimes, it is your greatest teacher